Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today for another card making video featuring some Stampin' Up products. So today I'm going to be using the extraordinary Flora bundle. So we've got stamps that we can stamp and colour and do lovely backgrounds with. We've got a coordinating die which we're going to need out, so I'll just take that out of the packaging so it's ready, which will cut out those images so that you can then layer them up and pop them up in dimensionals and things like that. So that's you know, one single thing, one pass, and you'll cut out all of those elements all at the same time. And we've got a couple of greetings in there as well. So that's the stamp set and dies. We're just going to be using the greeting today, the with love. Okay, and we also have this as part of the sort of suite of products, this amazing washi tape, okay, which is what I have used to create the floral embellishments on here. Okay, so this is a great old long roll with multiple images on it, and what we can do is we can add it to some cardstock and then use this die to cut them all out. Okay, so I've just got a bit of White Willow cardstock here, and I'm just going to start this off with my fingertips. The roll is 3 1/4 inches wide, so obviously you want some cardstock to make sure you can accommodate that. So I just get it sort of going like so, and then roughly line it up so that I know that I'm not going to run out of you know, it's not going to go, if you start going off wonky, it's going to potentially fall off the edge. So I've cut my cardstock to 3 1/2 inches to give myself a bit of wiggle room, and I'm just going to stretch that across that cardstock like so. So as you can see, there are different colours on there, so there's got this sort of red blooms, and then we start getting these purple ones. So I'm going to not pull out all of those extra ones, so you don't have to pull out all the designs all at once, and I'm making a right old jam of getting that down smooth. But if you use your bone folder, you'll be able to eliminate some of those bubbles as you go. Just go gentle, you don't want to tear it. It's not super fragile, but obviously it's not, you know, it's not cardstock or anything. And then I'm just going to snip away that excess like so. Okay, so that's where this beginning, so that where I've cut that, that's where the next set begins. Okay, so it's a repeating pattern, a bit like a roll of wallpaper basically, but in this gorgeous washi tape. Okay, so let's just smooth all of that out. So just so that you know, so it's about 3 1/4 wide. Let's see if we can rub a little bit more of that wrinkle out. There we go. So it does rub out quite nicely. Just go gentle. About 5 1/2 inches for the repeat, just so that you've got an idea. Okay. And as I say, the die is going to fit over the top of this, and we're going to get all of these beautiful embellishments. Okay. So these ones happen to be quite red, and as you can see, these ones with more of the purple kind of colour. So I teamed it with Petunia Pop here, and then the bluey sort of green I used Summer Splash. So 2 in colours just to sort of coordinate with those particular die cuts. But obviously we've got different colours, we've got different shades on this one. So I've got much lighter green. We're going to need some tape. keep this in place. So we'll just use some low tack tape just to keep that from moving around when we put it through the die cut machine. It's starting to lose its stick now. It might be the last time I use that bit. So just make sure that that's all nice and lined up, and then we'll lift it onto our plate and get that die cut. So I'm just wondering whether, so I managed to get 2 cards out of one set of die cuts. So we'll just run that through. I'm just thinking, I'm just going to just check whether this actually fits through the mini cutting emboss for you. So let me just pull this through. It's possible it will. So let me just grab the cutting plate. So all of these are falling out all over the place onto this plate now. So you can pop them into a bowl or something like that just to contain them or whatever. Just peel that away. So obviously that's scrap now, but you could also use it as a stencil or whatever. So we'll put that to one side. And then, yeah, it will fit through. So if you've got the mini cutting emboss, this will fit through there, no problem. Okay, right, let's see what we've got here then. So we've got these sort of little individual flowers almost. These 2 are the ones that I used on the one design, and then added some extra sort of leaves. So we've got some extra leaves as well. And then we've got these 2 which are a bit more sort of watercolory, so that's the other pair that I used. And then to fill things in, we've got these little individual flowers. So there's a couple of larger ones and a couple of smaller ones. So we can do that as well. And then a bit more foliage, sort of more yellowy greens. It's a cute little tiny embellishment there. And you can use, got these little yellow flowers. They seem to be yellow throughout the roll. It's the big flowers that change. More foliage here. So we've got sort of some pointy leaves and some rounded leaves and things like that. So there's loads to play with, loads and loads. So let's pop these to one side for the moment. I'll just leave these ones here, and we'll just replicate what we've done before with our cards. Okay, so we'll just pair these up. That can go with that, and that can go with that. And then we used these leaves with this one. Okay, so obviously you can easily get 2, maybe 3 cards out of each pass, okay, of these, using these dies. So we'll just, what have I got? I've got a plain white card base, and I've cut some more of the white willow cardstock to emboss a background. So on the other one I used one of the other folders, the larger folder, which is I think it's called Pretty Petals or something. But we're going to use the Eyelet 3D embossing folder, and this time, so just lining that up in the folder. And this is a 3D one, so we'll use our base plate with the dark grey plate. This is the one for the 3D embossing folders, so we'll pop that through. so that we get our nice embossed background that I've used, but in a different style, just so that it looks a little different, just so that you can see some different options. So it's sort of like an orangey red that we've got on here, so I'm tempted to use Calypso Coral as the accent colour rather than Petunia Pop that I used on the other one. These aren't necessarily they aren't listed as, you know, it doesn't have any colour suggestions in the catalogue, I don't think. Let's see if I can find it quickly. Through there. The washi tape, by the way, is really popular, so it keeps going in and out of stock. So yeah, it doesn't have a suggestion of the colours that you use with it in the catalogue. So yeah, just team it up with what you want. Okay, loads of suggestions on how you can use these together as well in the catalogue, so do use that as a resource. And if you go into the online store, there's when you look for product details, there will be images of some made-up cards or projects, depending on what it is, there as well. So there is some additional inspiration online on how the products work together. And of course, I'm introducing embossing folders as well with this, so just using some multi-purpose glue with this because it's so textured. So we'll just pop that in the background. Could add ink to this as well if you needed to. Okay, so with these big areas of texture and that, you might want to put something on top of that just to make sure it sticks nice and flat. So my go-to is usually some acrylic blocks, so the E blocks are quite good for this, and stack them up. I've got 2 of them, so that's nice and heavy, so it'll help get that nice and adhered. So we'll just leave that over there with those on top for the moment. Okay, right, got some scrap. Well, we haven't got scrap, we've got an offcut of this. We're going to need a die cut circle and well, a banner to sort of put behind it. So I'm using the stylish shapes. So I've got this die, which is 1, 2, 3, number 4 from the counting in from the inside out, or number 3 if you're counting out and in. So there'll be that die cut, and then I want to use this little teeny tiny banner for the accent piece, which is the piece that's going to go behind the sentiment here. So I think we'll go with Calypso Coral, which is one of the subtles. So let's just see what I've got in my scrap box. That will do. A little bit of a faded part on there, but that's fine, I can cut out that bit. These are little photo cases. They're brilliant for little scraps like this. As you can see, I've just put a permanent marker on there so that I can see what's there. They come in pack of 6, which is convenient because we've got the 5 colour families plus in colours. So 5 colour families, do I not mean, yeah, 4 colour families plus the in colours. So it's easy to separate them out like that. So we'll just whiz that through the die cut machine quickly because that's only little. I'll be cutting it in half to go with, so just putting that, yeah, that's going to be cool. So we'll need the Calypso Coral ink pad as well to go with that. Calypso Coral, there we go, there it is. So that's going to be, we'll stamp our sentiment on that, so we'll just need a little strip of cardstock for that. And I have quite a number of little scraps so that we can just use some of that there. So just want the with love. So let's just stamp that there. I'm going to pop it in the middle of there. And we'll cut that down when we're ready to assemble the card. Okay, then we want something that's going to be complementary to those leaves. Okay, now I think that's really, really pale, so I think I'm tempted to go with soft sea foam. I don't know whether it would be dark enough. Let's have a look. Let's see. So let's grab that and my light green blending brush. Ooh, let's put those around there in the wrong order. Just make sure that that's, yeah, that's fine. I think that'll be alright actually. Just want something to sort of emphasize that circle, really. Okay, and that will be cool. Okay, so I'm just swirling a bit on the cardstock there, and then we'll just die cut our circle. You can die cut it first and then add it if you want. I don't think it really matters. We just want that sort of faded look, so that it gets sort of paler as you go towards the outside. So we'll just run this through as well. Voila. Okay, and then we can start having a look at how we're going to construct this. So actually I'm going to make my topper and then we'll stick it on after. Okay, so like I say, we're going to cut this in half and just pop this on as like a little accent. We'll make that card up another time. And then we'll just chop down this. I'm not going to worry too much if it's not super straight. That will do. And then we'll just add these on to the back. So just because we don't want that to fall apart, we'll just use the wet glue here, and we'll just pop that on. You can use the little dots to check that it's even. So again, we'll want this to dry a little bit, so get this done now, and then it'll be firm enough to mess about with once we've done everything else. So again, you could pop a block underneath there if you wanted to. I just told you a bit of a porcupine there because we need to do that pronto, don't we? Because okay, it's not wide enough to use some sticky tape just to make sure, so we'll just pop our dimensionals across the top of those just to keep that in place, and then we'll add this to our circle. and then we can make the blooms fit around it. Okay, so I've done this a little shorter than the original, which is fine. Doesn't have to be identical. And I'm thinking we'll pop it about there, like that. Okay, and then so we've got this layout, and then I think we'll use these ones, or we'll do what we did here and build that up. Okay. So let's again, we'll use some dimensionals, so we could probably use some of the larger ones on these two for sure. And we'll get these in place. So I want them to hug the sentiment and sort of look like they're part of it, if you know what I mean. Then we've got that green coming through from the background as well. Okay. And then we've got this one that can sort of come off over here. Got some additional foliage that we can put on as well. Could always cut these down or swap it for something else. I'll swap it for this one, which is a little smaller. Add another shape to it. I think I might pop that on flat. So I'll just put a bit of glue there just to secure that. So this is like, you know, really super simple, and you can just sort of get everything die cut and then sort of build these up. You could probably do this on a lap tray in front of the TV or whatever. Now I'm going to grab a mini dimensional because I want to squeeze in another one of these flowers, and I'm going to take both the backings off, and I'm going to use my pokey tool to squeeze it in underneath there. Then I can pop that on top like so. So I've got my trio of flowers. Okay, right, our background is going to be ready now. Okay, now you could add some ink to the back of that if you wanted to, so we could just use the residual ink and just go around in a circle there, just to add some interest to the background as well and break it up a little bit. And then it's up to you then whether you want to raise that up. I think I might use some dimensionals. So because it's a circle, I like to use 3. Could add some ribbon as well and all that kind of stuff and make it nice and fancy. And then we'll get that lined up somewhere around there. I'll put it much lower on the original sample, but we've got a full embossing folder this time rather than just like you know, partly embossed. So I think that's going to look cool, and you'll see the embossing all the way around it. Okay, and then we'll finish it off with a few pearls. Okay, so we can use our embossing tool, not the embossing tool, what is this called? This is called a pokey tool. And pop these in. Like so. I'll have a couple more of these. Over here to make to make 5 with our rule of uneven numbers. That colour combination looks lovely. It makes it look so different. This is the equivalent design in the other colours with the other folder, so it makes such a difference with how it looks depending on what colours you combine together. But both are really, really pretty, aren't they? And I say there's enough there to make at least 2 more cards. As I did do 2 in that colour. Okay, but you get the idea. Really, really versatile set this is. And say team it with all sorts of things. Just use them as embellishments generally on your cards with other stamp sets and things. Really, really cool, and really quick way to get some really pretty embellishments for your cards. Okay, so that's it from me today. I hope you've enjoyed that. It's given you a couple of ideas of how to use this this tape. Like I say, keep a watch out. It goes in and out of stock really, really quickly. Very, very popular product, and you can see why, really. Okay, links are all in the description if you want to have a look at anything. And yeah, that's it from me today. Hope you're staying safe. Do take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.